Hello, everybody. Welcome to a live Three Geeks review at 12:45. That's right. We do it randomly. We pick times and we just decide to do things. We're here. We're not going to do what we had planned for our Mother's Day weekend. We're going to save that and do that for another weekend. But hope all the moms out there are having fun. We're not pre-recording. We're live. But yeah, we're here to discuss Doctor Strange 2. We went and saw it, and we wanted to have this conversation because I turned to Max in the theater. I'm like, I liked it. He's like, me too. And then he's like, stop talking about it. So I haven't been able to talk about this movie with anybody except for a brief chat with Mike in our, Facebook text. But
and I should have stopped talking about it at some point.
Fucking come on, guys. Let's be professionals, okay? Can we save it for the cast, please? Can we just save it for the cast?
We're not allowed to be friends with each other outside of this. And if we are, we're not allowed to talk about anything we experienced.
But
together.
Also, you're not allowed to talk to anyone else about it either. Like, I need you to save it for the cast.
All right, I got lots of thoughts.
Yeah, shut yourself in. You watch a movie, you go straight home. You don't talk to anybody about it.
But my Twitter.
No.
Mike's just going to read his Twitter entry on the show
today. Pretty much.
And okay, so before we get into it, Doctor Strange right now is sitting at a 76% on Rotten Tomatoes, and we'll find out if we agree with that or not. Like, is the movie up to that standard? Should it be higher? Should it be lower?
What did you say it was?
Discuss. Let's start with our...
Hold on. Where did you say it was at on Rotten Tomatoes?
76.
76, okay.
So, yeah, let's get to discussing it, guys. Sam Raimi's out. We heard some negative reviews, people saying that it was too Sam Raimi. And I do want to start off this podcast by saying, Marvel fans out there, I'm not talking to you, Mike, because you want it for different reasons, but Marvel fans out there, they want Marvel to do something new. Like, they keep saying they want Marvel to do something new. And then when Marvel does something new, like Moon Knight or like Doctor Strange 2, they complain that it's too much. Too much newness, like too much Sam Raimi in this film. Like, can we hold back? But yet you guys want the newness. But when it doesn't feel like the newness, you guys complain that it's not what you're familiar with. And
it's the new hotness.
Where was there too much Sam Raimi? I mean, like, granted, okay, yeah, there were more Sam Raimi moments than, we'll say, Spider-Man 2, which only had one. But I think at like maybe 3, possibly 4 Sam Raimi moments, it definitely wasn't too much. Like,
it had a darker tone, which I think is one of the things people are complaining about. And I think this is the first Marvel movie since Ant-Man. Because remember when we saw Ant-Man, we were saying, yeah, you can still see shades of the original director in this movie. And with this movie, you definitely can feel that it's a Sam Raimi film.
Yeah, he has a very distinct style about even like you said, Max, with like the one thing in Spider-Man 2 that I think I know which one you're talking about too.
The tentacle scene.
The tentacle scene. There's other like visual cues and other stylistic choices throughout that movie that they're not as overt as, say, the tentacle scene, which is pretty much hearkening to Evil Dead. But like, there's other stuff like the whole montage. People being faded in on top of one another in like a collage. Like, that happened in the first Spider-Man. It happened here in Doctor Strange when he's talking about the dream walking stuff. And yeah, like, it's got a distinct eye behind it, which I personally enjoy. But yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah, no, I don't understand complaining about that. Like, I mean, if it was full on Evil Dead and it was not good, I would understand complaining about the Sam Raimi-ness of it. But when the movie was okay, like it was solid. So that I don't understand complaining about, because that's my whole thing. So
I think what fangoers were expecting was Spider-Man No Way Home, but we got that movie. Like, Spider-Man No Way Home was a fan service hand job that we all experienced and we all enjoyed, and it was a good time.
How was this not a fan service hand job?
Yeah. Well, funny thing is that this was originally supposed to come out before Spider-Man No Way Home, but then COVID, so the shuffle got mixed up, and so they had to basically adapt and reshoot parts of this movie to basically be like, okay, this is after No Way Home now.
Right.
So
No Way Home caused this.
I don't this wasn't the same kind of fan service hand job. Like there is a sequence in the middle of this movie that is the fan service, but it wasn't through the whole thing like Spider-Man was. Spider-Man was from start to finish fan service.
I don't know how you have a John Krasinski, Reed Richards, Professor X in the yellow chair, freaking. How is this not a fan service?
No, it's there. It's there. It's just a short part of the movie. Is all I'm saying.
It's contained. It's contained in a specific section, and that was what I felt was the very weakest part of the film. Just because I zoned out. Like I could not care about these cameos. I'm just like, whatever. What's this guy doing? Doctor Strange?
Then they screw Namor. Do they not have rights to Namor?
They do.
Okay, so fuck Namor, I guess. And then,
well, he's probably gonna be tied in with whatever they're gonna do with FF down the line. So this is like, again, this felt like I mentioned it in the chat, and I mentioned it on my posts about this movie. Is that this middle part feels like Marvel's being like, here's the 10-year plan. Click. Here's who we have lined up for the next 5 or 10 years. Be on the lookout for these characters because here's who could potentially be playing them. Click. And I'm just like, ugh.
For me, I really enjoyed this part. I'm glad it wasn't too long. I'm glad that it was a mini short almost in the middle of the thing. But one of my besides Krasinski, that was the best Fantastic Four movie I've ever seen personally. Watching Doctor Strange 2. It might have been 4 minutes long, but there's not been any better Fantastic Four movie than that.
That's also true.
Hey, now Roger Corman's is pretty awesome in its own regard.
Leaving Roger Corman's out because it is a whole other thing. We'll say like Fantastic Four that's been actually made as a Hollywood movie. It's definitely better than that. I feel like again, like they missed a few things. Because like Namor was part of the Illuminati, in the comic books. So like here we go, we missed a possible introduction for Namor. Instead, we got Black Captain Marvel, which is cool. I'm not against Black Captain Marvel, but I'm like, where's Namor at? And then. Or you can even, if we have to have a female, could have been a black chick named Marita, that's fine. I don't.
See, my whole issue with that is not the idea of like, oh, well, they left out Namor, who's usually a pretty consistent member of the Illuminati in the comics, or not that it was a comics faithful adaptation of the Illuminati. My main issue is just like, cool. This really, aside from it trying to tangentially tie into Doctor Strange, really could have nothing to do with Doctor Strange at this point. These could have been a council of Mordos, which would have made more sense because Mordo actually has something to do with Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping we'd get the continuation of Mordo's story from the main timeline that we had in 2016, but it's just this one-off multiverse version of him. It's like, we reset him back to being a villain instead of like, what's main Mordo been up to? Like they left it on a cliffhanger in the first movie. He was gonna seek out and destroy all magic or sorcery or something. He's still doing that, I guess. But
yeah, and that would have been cool. I agree, 100%. Like that would have been awesome to have Mordo as a solid villain, and he's still alive. Like let's use him.
And he's actually the antithesis of the hero.
Yes.
Whereas here, the villain, while I appreciated the performance of it, the main villain, I felt this was kind of a huge kind of backstep from where we last saw that character, in a way. But
well, kind of. The end of WandaVision, the post-credit stuff set this up.
It's what I thought was cool. I feel like they gave her a really good range of stuff to like act through. I don't feel like it was a back step, more like maybe like a side step, if you want to call it that.
Sidestep, in other words, like, oh man, could you imagine like if they'd taken the development from WandaVision and taken it to some other degrees? But she's kid crazy, just like a woman is, right?
Yeah.
Fucking.
But that's one of Wanda's motivations in the comics too, or her kids, right?
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely
And
like
it's
a thing that they did in the comic book.
Can I just say it wasn't done very well in the comics either? Like Avengers Disassembled is kind of a hot mess. So
yeah, I think it was like I think it was definitely handled a little like better here than in the comic books, but also like writing in the 70s and 80s versus writing now, like you can see like what happened.
I do got to say the one thing I really enjoyed about the whole sequence with the Illuminati and just that entire sequence in that world was just showing how vicious and how strong Scarlet Witch really is, because that definitely let us see like the things that she did to Black Bolt, which was hilarious.
Oh god, that was so good.
I laughed so hard because
That was so good.
Black Bolt sucks.
And Professor X, we got to see him die again on the screen. Don't worry, the spoiler alert is down below, everybody.
But like what got me, what I don't like about this movie is, again, we are killing good villains. Do not kill good villains. Like Scarlet Witch. I mean, one could argue that at the end she's not a villain, but like,
or that she's really dead. You don't actually see her like.
All right, they're gonna have to do some storytelling to get us back to she's alive.
It's the multiverse, Max. They can pull another one out. There are no more.
They killed her.
That's also true, I suppose. But
I didn't at all read that as she was dead at the end.
And if
when she topples a mountain on top of herself,
she's a witch. I didn't even think about it. I just figured she protected herself.
And if this one's dead, they've got millions of other Scarlet Witches they can pull from the multiverse because stakes don't matter anymore.
Yeah, no, I was just like, ugh, it's not like, there's no, hey, like, okay, Wanda, like, let's get you the help you need to get over this thing, like, you've just been wallowing in your own sorrow, which is not, like, there's a chance for a lesson there. We didn't take it.
I mean, this is just speculation at this point. I'm not in the know about what they plan to do with the character or with this particular angle, but I envision there's going to be a road to redemption type of arc throughout some other movies, leading into maybe sort of an House of M type thing when they finally do bring X-Men into the fold.
Right, that's the other thing I was hoping for and didn't get in this one was all right, like, at the end of it I was like, I need Wanda to be full on fucking crazy, and it's like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just do everything all at once, and she like brings all the universes together
in this Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you got to start somewhere. Somewhere, Mike.
Hey, what about Doctor Strange, the character that this movie is named after?
Still not Sorcerer Supreme. Like, he's not even like Doctor Strange, like. It would have been great if they called it Doctor Strange and they just made a movie about Wong. That would have been fun.
Oh my god, I love that Wong is the Sorcerer Supreme. I've loved that banter. I know by the next movie we got to do something. We got to stop doing that banter, but I enjoyed it in this one. And then they did it a little bit in Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's fine. Like, I mean, everyone's solid in their performances. I do like Benedict Wong as his character, so I'm glad he got a little bit more to do this time around. So
yeah, I'm glad there's two Benedicts as sorcerers.
I didn't realize that.
I mean, neither. It's what you just said it. But no, my only real issue with this movie was pacing. I thought the pacing was a bit off. Yeah. But other than that, I enjoyed it a lot. And there's a scene towards the end where Doctor Strange is sleepwalking, and that whole sequence with those creatures reminded me of Evil Dead 2.
Oh, like, yeah.
So much so that I'm like, man, I want Sam Raimi to return the horror so bad.
That was definitely some Deadite, drag me to hell type of stuff that he was pulling off at the end there. And even I like, there's a lot of style even in like the effects. I feel like Zombie Strange, I was getting some serious like Liam Neeson as janky Darkman vibes. Like whenever he tries to talk, like if you ever watch Darkman and Liam Neeson tries to talk when he only has like a jaw there, that I was feeling like this reminds me a lot of Darkman. That's pretty cool.
I didn't finish my thought on the middle of the movie. I completely forgot about it. But after she creates everybody and she walks into the room where Strange and America and what's his love interest name?
Christine.
Christine. She walks in, she's just covered in blood on her face. Like that whole imagery is like was just I thought it was great. I love that.
I thought it would be good. Like, I mean, again, because if you introduce Reed Richards, that means Doctor Doom is out there somewhere. And I thought it would be really cool if she mind controlled Doctor Doom instead of herself. Like, I guess you have to mind control yourself.
Yeah,
but
spell.
I'm missing on Doctor Doom. Like, we've been through this whole Marvel's experience, 20 something, almost 30 odd movies, and there's never been Doctor Doom. I really want one of the best Marvel villains of all time. So
I think this is the first thing that they could have put any Fantastic Four stuff in.
Yeah, it is for sure.
I think this is like the first of the timeline of when they got the rights and stuff. But no, I agree with you. I think he's coming. I think Doctor Doom is coming.
Yep, in this Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're doing it all. Multiverse, Mike.
I know. I know.
No, I mean, like, it's I thought there was gonna be more what's his face? The demon that he's always, or he fought him in the last one, I guess. But,
Dormammu.
Dormammu, yeah. Like, I thought there was gonna be more Scarlet Witch tapping into Dormammu sort of going on.
Yeah.
To keep it more Doctor Strange. But,
well, I mean, they're probably, maybe they'll bring him back because that mid credits thing they tease basically like Dark Dimensions on the move again. We gotta do something about this because you fucked up.
Fucking who's Charlize Theron supposed to be?
Clea.
I have no idea who that is.
It's like one of Doctor Strange's like on again, off again people, and then she becomes Sorcerer Supreme at some point. So that's probably what's gonna happen here.
So that'd be a running joke. He never actually gets
him.
Yeah. This is the universe where Doctor Strange only spent 10 minutes as the Sorcerer Supreme.
Doctor Strange 4, Jane Foster is the new Sorcerer.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I'll give some kudos because I it sounds like I'm harping on this. When honestly when I got done watching it, I'm like, yeah, it's fine, it's good. It is fun to see Raimi back doing some things, and there was a lot more of his style in here than I thought there was gonna be. So yes. I really appreciated that. I really liked the fighting of the musical score where they took literal notes and words
sick.
As weapons, and it synced up well with the soundtrack. I don't think I've ever really seen anything like that in one of these movies before, so that was pretty cool. Like I said, everyone's consistent, and yeah, there was stuff to really like. I like the idea that Doctor Strange is totally cool with just letting everyone know that he fucked up in Infinity War. So now you have random people on the street come around and be like, hey, so 5 years of my life are gone because of you. Thanks for that. Like, that could be a movie in and of itself. Everyone's just giving him shit about that. I'd watch that.
Well, and you know, like, it's good too because, like, you know, Doctor Strange in that world is an asshole. Like, and to see an asshole catch shit is just fun.
I just like the idea that basically, like, the only way people really knew about this is the Avengers volunteered that information. Be like, this guy, him.
And
this is his fault. Remember how Iron Man died? His fault.
His fault.
This is the first of the movies to acknowledge the show because you have to have watched WandaVision in order to know where Elizabeth Olsen's character is.
Yeah,
now, if you don't care about Elizabeth Olsen, then you're fine. But if you want to know her story, you had to have watched it.
I think they do an okay job of like
tying it in.
Yeah, like, or, you know, like, if you haven't seen it, like, you know, something happened and she lost it, and, you know, we're here now. You know, like, like, I think they do an okay job of that. But yeah, I agree. Like, it is definitely, if you haven't seen it, like, you're not gonna know the scope of what's going on.
It's homework, basically, and I was also trying to think of, like, we're well beyond the point with Marvel franchise now where you can just go into one of these cold. Like, that's the thing. I feel the next cadre of movies that you go into, with some exceptions here and there, you have to have seen everything and I couldn't imagine being someone who just wants to go maybe into the next Captain Marvel movie or whatever and go in without really knowledge of everything that came before. That seems like a lot to demand.
But what gets me is it's like that's comic books though.
That
like,
is comics, but yeah.
If you know, and you know, like you remember when it's like, oh, you know, if you don't know what the fuck is going on, read Spider-Man from fucking 47. Like it's that. So like I mean, it's not great, but it's also like that is one of the things that makes me feel like okay, these are comic book movies because like like if you have it, like it should. The stories should be good enough on their own to let you watch them and enjoy them.
True.
But if you need to understand the full, you know, scope of everything that's going on, yeah, you got to do some homework. But that's comic books. Like, go read your comics.
It's also long form television, which I mentioned as well. Like this, we've said it for years on the podcast too. Is that like Marvel Cinematic Universe plays like long form television more so than
one of the most expensive TV shows ever made.
Yeah.
But that's not entirely true. Like my dad saw Spider-Man No Way Home and he enjoyed it. He hasn't seen anything except for maybe Iron Man 1.
Well, you see, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, if it's good enough as a story on its own, you should be okay with that. Yeah. Like, you don't really need to know where everyone came from and how they got here so much as like they're here now and this is what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, like if you want more context, yeah, there's a lot of homework to be done.
Man, well, I was thinking about this too after watching it. I'm just like, how did the kid actor, and this is no knock against these kids because I'm sure they're doing what's expected of them. How did they go from actually being really interesting on WandaVision to being annoying as shit in this movie?
Oh my God, I just wanted those kids to die. I was like, please tell me Wanda tragically murders her own children. Like that's what I was hoping for.
I thought they were going to do that. Like she accidentally kills her kids. I thought they were going to go there because the movie was dark. I mean, don't get us wrong. This movie does have really dark subject matter.
Yeah, and I mean, like, and that's another thing. Like, I've been kind of waiting for them to do a horror movie, superhero movie. This one I still don't think really counts. It's got a lot of Sam Raimi in it, but it's not really. It's just too bright and not scary to be called a horror movie.
Yeah, they're still playing it safe. I mean, it did get a lot more grisly than Marvel typically does, which I wasn't surprised by that because. Again, it's Sam Raimi, so they're not going to be like fully, no, you can't do this because they'll be like, oh, we wouldn't be here without you. So you do what you want. Like I wasn't expecting giant octopus eyeball to be torn out of its socket. That was pretty neat, but
that was cool. I agree. That whole fight was, I like the whole aspect of it's like, okay, if you invite Doctor Strange to your wedding, please don't think that he won't take over the show. Like your wedding is not going to be the highlight of the day when you invite Doctor Strange to your wedding.
Yep.
But because no one's going to be talking like, oh, do you remember Christine's wedding? It's like, no. Do you remember that fucking tentacle monster appeared out of nowhere and then freaking?
Well, I don't want to keep us all day. I agree with the 76% on Rotten Tomatoes. I give this thing 3.5 out of 5. I think it's a solid middle of the run. This movie definitely starts as soon as the thing starts. Like there's no setting up a story. There's none of that really. There's no like lingering at the beginning. You're on the ride from like second one, and it went by quick. There's a few things I was disappointed in as far as pacing, and I follow all this shit on social media, so rumors and all that stuff, it can set you up for disappointment sometimes if you hear something's going to happen and it doesn't happen. But unlike social media, I'm not holding that against this movie. I enjoyed it for the film we got. I'm glad Raimi's in, and if you got small children, this movie may actually terrify them. But if your kids are like 8 to 10, I think they're fine.
I think they're fine.
This. Yeah,
but that was one of the things I was following was people being like genuinely shocked that it was this violent and grisly. They're like, man, this is not a Marvel movie. I'm like, it's fine. You haven't seen the worst of what Raimi can give you.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so Doctor Strange jumps up to a mountain flying on wings of like lost souls. But
and he's a zombie, so
there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that.
It's totally fine. I dug the movie. I'll give it up to 3.5. Like that's about right where it should be.
I'm probably gonna be in the 3 camp again, it was enjoyable enough, and it, like I said, it's just good to have something from Sam Raimi. I hope he can go full out on his next project, whatever that'll be, and he takes Bruce along for the ride to abuse him, which he apparently just likes to do in all these movies. He likes to beat up his actors so much.
Bruce was one of the best parts of this movie, and the post-credit scene is like the end of that. Spoiler alert down below again, and he like literally looks at the camera and says, "It's finished," and then it's over.
I will say, out of the multiverse movies we've gotten this year so far, Everything Everywhere All at Once, I'm still going to champion that movie. It's the more solid multiverse.
I still need to see it. Need to see it.
Oh, it pissed me off last night though, because like one of the hoity-toity like film Twitter accounts was just like, just so y'all know, hold my multiverse. Doctor Strange has already made more money in one night than Everything Everywhere All at Once has made in its month and a half of
well,
it's like, yeah, when you eat up 70 to 80% of the screens in the theater because Disney bullies theaters to play the movie.
But Disney has already spent multiple billions of dollars getting to this movie, okay? Like, every other Marvel movie is a commercial for this movie.
And also, like, it's, you're comparing a multi-billion-dollar franchise to an indie film that was only a couple mil to make, and that was only limited to certain theaters for a while until wide release. It's like, brilliant take.
The fuck out of here.
Brilliant take, genius.
I gotta say, I get tired of that argument as well. That money does not make. You can like both people. You can enjoy both things. They both exist. You can. It's the same fucking argument about video game systems or music artists. You can't like this music artist if you like this music artist. No, you can't. It doesn't matter.
When Upgrade and Venom came out in the same year, and Upgrade was the better movie.
I knew you were gonna talk about Upgrade and Venom.
But like it's the same deal. Okay, these guys with less money did it better. Like, period. Like, okay, you made more money, but you spent way more money.
I'm just gonna say you'll have a good time with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Yes.
It's an enjoyable popcorn movie.
Yes.
You'll have a good time with Everything Everywhere All at Once, probably, but you'll also cry a little bit, so it'll get you.
It's not fair just to compare dollar. You have to do that. You have to do the same thing with like boxers. Pound for pound, Everything Everywhere All at Once is the better movie. Like you can't use the box office gross as the only factor in your
as the litmus test or the barometer, I guess.
Money, it shouldn't be the factor at all. And both of those movies are getting good reviews, so celebrate them both. People go
to the movies and have fun. Like, you don't have to.
Absolutely, I agree wholeheartedly. Anyway, Three Geeks Podcast. We interviewed a guy that released yesterday, Tim, who made a movie about nudists, and he's a really funny dude. Fantastic guy. We're going to get him on the live show very, very soon because the rest of these guys are absolutely going to love him. Don't worry, he will wear clothes. And tomorrow I'm dropping an interview with a guy that knew Lucille Ball really well and went through some tragedies in his own life, and Lucille Ball helped him out. And it's a good story about friendship. So check that out as well.
Nice.
And bye.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day weekend.
Recycling your droids.